guys, I'm Charlie Book Fanatic. Welcome back to my channel, and today I thought it would be fun to do a Top 5 Wednesday topic. But when I looked at the Top 5 Wednesday group on Goodreads, I actually saw that Sam had a very busy couple of months behind her, and she said that we could choose a topic from one of the previous months to do our Top 5 Wednesdays for this month. So I thought it would be fun to look back at the other topics and choose one of those. So I thought it would be fun to pick some books that I have read previously because of Booktube. So I want to talk about 5 books that I have read because of this amazing platform. The first one is actually kind of a cop-out, I guess, because it's multiple books, but I'm going to mention them as one, and that's all of Jane Austen's books. I read the Jane Austen books because of this group on Goodreads and because of this YouTuber called Read by Zoe, and she has her own classics book group on Goodreads, and I read all of Jane Austen's books because of that, because we read a new Jane Austen every single month. So I managed to read all of Jane Austen's 5 full-on novels, and I actually really liked them. I am so glad I managed to read classics because of this group, and I really got into classics because of it. So I still read classics even though I am not participating in this group anymore because it's still on hiatus, I believe. So I am having a very good time diving into more classics. I'm soon going to read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and I am having the time of my life reading classics and finding out more about literature in general. The next book is actually a graphic novel that I read because of Booktube, and that is Miss Marvel by Willow Wilson. I read the first volume in this series, No Normal, when I saw everyone talking about this on Booktube. It has gotten such high praise because it was about a Muslim high school girl. Her culture and her high school life and the superhero duties were all very important in this series. I've only heard people actually talk about the first volume in this series, and I think a lot of people were like, oh, the first volume was fun, but I don't really want to continue on with the series, or they have just kind of forgotten about it. But I was really enthusiastic about it, and I managed to read on with Miss Marvel, and I am having such a good time with this series. I love the art style, I love the heroes and the villains that pop up in this. I especially love the cameo that Loki from Thor had in this, because I really like Loki. And just Miss Marvel and how she fangirls some of the heroes in here is really cool, because after all she's just a high school girl with her obsessions and her passions, and it's really cool to see such a relatable character even though she is a superhero herself in a graphic novel. So I am again very glad I picked up this series. I think it's a common theme with these books, so I think Booktube has had a good influence on my reading taste. The next book I want to talk about is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. E. Lockhart is one of my favorite authors of all time now. It all started with her book We Were Liars. Everyone was talking about this book. People were being promoted to talk about this book. And I am so glad I picked this up. Everyone was so vague about it. No one told about the synopsis of We Were Liars on Booktube. Everyone was like, you just have to read it. And the promotions for this were also very clever. Promotions didn't say a lot about this book, and they were all very mysterious, so they made you want to read this book, so they did very well with that. And I picked up this book and I loved it. The plot twist in this blew me away. I did not see it coming, even though some people did. I am not one for guessing in books, so this was very unpredictable for me, and I ended up loving it. I picked up multiple books of E. Lockhart after this, and she is definitely a great thriller / mystery author for me. I love the way she writes and how she reveals her information, and I will definitely keep picking up books from her. Another book I want to talk about is A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. The third book is coming out this year. The second book wasn't as great for me, honestly. The first book really blew me away. It's a space opera. I read it because of Booktube. I didn't think a lot of people have talked about it on Booktube, but I saw it on someone's channel and I was like, okay, I have to read it. That sounds so cool. I wasn't reading a lot of sci-fi at the time, and a space opera about alien species, and it was so cool to me. The cover looked beautiful, and I was like, okay, sure, let's read this. And I have not regretted a moment since. This book is very slow paced. You learn a lot about all of these characters in this book. They're all from different alien species, and I had a good time exploring this world, and I am so glad that Becky Chambers is exploring this world herself more and brings out more books in this world, even though I would have really liked if she would have kept on the cast of characters from the first book, but she didn't in the second book, and the third book is definitely going to be about different characters in this world as well, which makes me sad, but I do hope I will love the characters in the third book more than I did the second book. And the last book I want to talk about is Winger by Andrew Smith, which is the first book in the Winger series. I have only read the first book. I have no interest in continuing this series, but I saw Winger on Jesse the Reader's channel, and he was quite positive about it, I believe, especially about the ending of this book. I started reading it. It's about boarding school. I really like the boarding school setting. It's about a young boy who's like 13 and he goes to this boarding school. The ending of the book really surprised me. I did not see it coming. It was super emotional. And I did enjoy reading this book. I did enjoy my time, even though I thought like the main character was kind of perverted most of the time. And he's being described as a very relatable male main character, but I'm obviously not male, so I couldn't really relate to him. I wouldn't know if his thoughts were true, but I felt like he was being very perverted most of the time. And I feel like guys aren't like that all the time. It was a bit too much in my opinion, but I still enjoyed this book. I still enjoy Ryan Dean and his love interest and his relationships with the other characters in this book, but I wouldn't read anything else in this series. Maybe by Andrew Smith, because I've heard he writes really strange other stories, but I have no regrets picking this book up because I still did enjoy it and it was something kind of out of my comfort zone, so yeah, it really surprised me. So these were some of the books I managed to read because of Booktube. I enjoyed all of them and I had a good time reading all of them, and I will definitely pick up more books in the future that I have heard of on Booktube, and I am very excited to keep on watching Booktube, which I do a lot by the way. I don't add as much books to my TBR anymore. I just add some books, like one every single month or something I see on Booktube, because books people talk about don't really interest me as much as when I just started filming and making videos on Booktube, but I still see a book sometimes I want to add to my TBR, and I am very glad that Booktube still manages to excite me at some points. So let me know down below, what books did you manage to read because of Booktube? Have you read any of the books I just talked about? Let me know down below. I would love to know. Thanks for watching. Goodbye!